to a degree, Mackie and I got to know each other really well when I only had one sports team to cover, and I had never covered a team as a beat reporter. And I drew the Iowa Barnstormers for 5 years, which included 2 years with Kurt Warner. And of course, we all know what happened after that, and I ended up spending time covering a lot of St. Louis Rams games. In fact, that first year at Kurt's, people down in Missouri at the complex said I should have been paying Missouri state income tax as much time as I spent down there. So.
Now, you talk all the things you covered. Obviously, this is a sports show. When you talk about sports stories or things throughout your career that, that have made a difference, where you've shown some light that hadn't been shown previously, what things jump out at you?
Well, there were, I don't want to say there were so many.
Can I jump in right here?
Sure, go right ahead.
I think one of the most recent ones is something that we all will remember. It's the Larry Eustace stories in the picture.
Yep.
And that was a national story, and Tom broke that. And I'm sure there were plenty more, but I think that's what, maybe it's unfortunate, but a lot of people know you by that one, don't they?
Sure they do. And it was good to see Larry's team do well.
Yes, it was.
As well as it did. And Larry looks like he's in good health, and that's a good thing, too.
His hair looks a little thinner.
Yeah,
these days,
it
though.
is. Well, all of our hair is a little bit thinner.
Wait.
Not that mop we got down there.
Yeah, well, he's lucky, I guess.
Pantene Pro V right here.
So, I mean, there was that story. There was the story about the going back a number of years, the 3 athletes at the University of Iowa who had gone through drug rehab. All of those stories, I took that job in sports because sports in this state has always been as important as anything else. And at the time, we felt, myself and others on the staff, including Mark, felt that we had to start covering sports like it was politics, like it was government, like it was anything else, not just the games.
Right.
And there were times when we've dug out stuff that is embarrassing and that I understand, but I also think at the same time, the universities in particular have adopted, at least to a degree, a bit more transparency. You're always going to have your battles. You're always going to have mistakes. You're always going to have kids who act out and do bad things and things like that. But that's just part of life. I mean, that's just part of what we have here in Iowa, and the fact that we cover it a bit harder and have in the past and still do, I think it helps I think it helps the institutions. I think while fans don't like it, except when I was writing about Iowa State
fans
right? They all loved it, that type of thing. But overall, I've always thought that the tougher coverage has made those schools at least understand that doing it right as best they can
Although in Iowa
is
City,
better
they're
than not
slow
doing
learners. They
well,
still
someday,
haven't learned in Iowa City.
Well, sometimes.
I say that as somebody who's frustrated with some of the just choices that they've made in terms of how they've handled situations as anyone.
Well, I think that there's been a change up there in the administration in terms of their attitude and in terms of their approach. It's, for lack of a better way of putting it, it's much more corporate in the sense of they only want to provide information that they can control.
Right.
Obviously, it's to usually make themselves look better. And when you have an aggressive press, which we do have now even more so than when I started doing this, they end up looking like they're hiding things. Right. And they need to understand and adapt to the situation where you have people out there who are constantly speculating and providing information that makes that's real. They need to provide that information quicker.
Absolutely.
As opposed to always waiting and delaying and all of that, and then deciding to come out with a report, 8 months after the controversy's over. The rhabdomyolysis problem that they had with those football players was a classic example of that.
Yep.
Nobody knew what was going on. All they did know is that there were 26 kids, or 23, I guess, in the hospital having real
then the lack
major
of response
medical
made
problems.
You think they're
right, that they were
it
hiding it.
Yeah.
And I realized that there was privacy concerns and all of that. But when they have to concede, the 20 some odd kids are in the hospital and they're all from the same team, you've got to be a little bit more open other than saying, well, we're looking into it.
Yeah. Coincidence that we haven't had success in the Iowa football program since then?
I don't think so. I mean, it would tough to prove a causal relationship. I think that there has just been the Iowa football programs recruiting has not turned out well. I'm not one to get. First of all, I don't pay all that much attention to recruiting 4 stars, 3 stars, 5 stars, whatever, because
2 stars.
2 stars.
No star.
Well, because a football coach once told me, he said, look, we have no idea how good a kid is. We have no idea until we get them on campus. That's when we figure out what's in their head and what's in their heart.
Yep.
All right, you could be a 5-star, and if your head's not right or your heart's not in it, you're no good to them.
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of what my story.
Right, exactly. You got a 2-star or a 3-star like a Dallas Clark or somebody
Right.
like that, or a Bobby Sanders, right? As examples.
You have to be
Everything
lucky
works.
as well as
Amen.
Well,
good.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's the toughest thing that you do, and I just think that they've had some difficulties in terms of just choosing the wrong kids, and that's always a problem. But every program, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4,
goes through that.
Let's get into that real quick.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll keep Tom around for a 3rd segment if he's willing.
Sure.
And we'll jump into that a little bit. Stay tuned for more Extra Points and more Shovel, more Tom Witosky right after this.
Are you tired of losing the lives and productivity of your employees and their families to diabetes, cancer, heart attack, and stroke? Not to mention the destruction that these and other chronic diseases cause. In an effort to help, we are proud to introduce the newest member of the Holmes Murphy family, Dr. Mike Abelasili. Dr. Mike is Family Physician of the Year in 2010 and has a passionate and proven track record for saving lives and preventing disease.
If you truly want your employees and their families to have better lives, you need to call Holmes Murphy.
People like to see a return on their investment. Is it time for you to make an investment in your health? The YMCA has great locations, facilities, equipment, and a staff dedicated and trained to help you succeed. And it's affordable to all. The Y offers boot camp classes, a pool, wellness coaches, complimentary child watch, and so much more. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Welcome back to Extra Points. Your view in history here, ladies and gentlemen. We have never had a guest held over for a 3rd segment, but when you have Tom Witosky, you take advantage of it. We're talking football programs, and again, because again, Casey came up with something go out of break. We're going to throw it at him and let him run with this.
Well, and we were talking obviously off air here, but Tom, let's get into, you were talking a little bit about Iowa's program, or we can even talk about Iowa State. We can talk about many different schools across the country in Division I. But it seems the big schools that we're talking about, the big 4 every year that make a run at it, the Alabamas and all that, it seems that if you do not perform at a high level when you first walk into that program, your scholarship is taken away, move on down the line. It seems that
So you're
some
saying
of
we
these
could have pulled Stanzi's scholarship?
Well, I'm not saying
really.
Stanzi, but I'm saying,
Not really. Well, you see,
I'm
here's
getting into
happens.
what you were
Here's
talking about.
That's a good point.
Here's what happens, is that under NCAA rules, you cannot pull someone's scholarship for performance purposes. You can't do it. You can get into, and in fact, if you try to do it, the athlete can ask for a hearing and create all sorts of problems for you. I mean, this is supposedly still about education. So what they do is that they make it very clear to individual athletes that they don't think are measuring up, that they're not going to play, right? Or they'll be on the scout team forever, that type of thing. And then those athletes get either angry or they just admit to themselves that this wasn't the right fit, and then they move on. There is this conflict about the one-year scholarship offer as opposed to guarantee it for 4 or 5. And again, and of course, the other part to this is that most people don't understand is that it has an impact on what they call the annual performance review,
Yeah, the AP.
which is academics. And if you have too many kids transfer, now suddenly you're facing what Connecticut faced this year in not being eligible to play in the tournament. So I tell you, I mean, I understand that it often boils down to the same thing I've always said it boils down to. Every time I called it education, the colleges called it business. Every time I called it business, the colleges called it education.
Right out of
And
North Dallas 40.
Right, exactly. It's sort of that great
Now,
scene
one
out of
thing,
North Dallas
before you
40.
jump in this, was your tennis scholarship at Miami of Ohio, did you get a one-year commitment or was it a multi-year?
It was 10, 15 years.
Okay.
But you know, the thing about Iowa.
And a signing bonus.
and a signing bonus. The
Did
thing
you
about
graduate?
Iowa. The thing about Iowa, though, is that and Iowa State and schools like that, they kind of have to develop their players over the years.
Right.
They don't get there being ready for the NFL, most of them.
Right.
So it's a little bit different.
I understand that, but then after 3 years, I mean, that's what you're starting to see at Iowa
Then,
right
yeah.
now is that the recruits that you were talking about, they recruited 3 years ago haven't panned out to play their junior and senior
Right.
year. Why keep them around?
Well, it's good for your graduation rate, if nothing
Oh,
else.
I mean, that's a whole different topic.
Right,
We
well,
can get into
well,
graduation
well,
rate.
well,
You're talking to somebody that went to Iowa State about
But
graduation.
I did graduate. I was part of that statistic that graduated for Coach Mack, and we were actually one of the highest ones when I graduated my senior year in the Big 12.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come on with us.
Thanks for asking.
We appreciate you hanging around for a third segment, and I'm hopeful that we can get you back on in the future.
I'd be glad to do it.
We won't make you sit by Casey.
Well, that's all right.
All righty, stay tuned for more Extra Points. You'll get our Extra Point this week after this.
Overwhelmed? Frustrated? Not sure what to do with your garage? Let the professional design team at Minnesota Cabinets be your garage organization solution. Floors, cabinetry, slapboard walls, and other accessories, all custom designed to maximize your space and be easy on your budget. Let Minnesota Cabinets, your trusted solution for kitchen cabinets, bring some peace of mind to your garage too. Wait till your neighbors see this. Minnesota Cabinets, home and garage on 100th Street in Urbandale.
That's magic. This is not. No magic can help you get in shape, and it won't happen overnight. You need a plan, commitment, and more often than not, you will need help. That's what the Y does best. They have the finest facilities and equipment and a professional staff trained to help you succeed. If you and your family are serious about living an active, healthier lifestyle, why wait? Join the Y today and let tomorrow be the start of a healthier you.
Welcome back to Extra Points. As we cap this week's mediocre look into the world of sports here in Central Iowa, we'd like to take mediocrity to a whole new level. Some weeks we fall short. This year, guys, this week I think we were just mediocre. We did not take mediocrity to a new level. But as we do that, we examine a lot of different things. What's on everybody's mind right now, March Madness, coaching searches. Well, we've got a coaching search right here in Des Moines. We've talked at length about Drake, about the challenges, about what Mark Phelps had to deal with, about the exodus, and we've poked fun a little bit, and justifiably so. I've made comments about Drake becoming a Division II athletic department because that really seems to be more consistent with how the university views that athletic department. The reality is all of us that live here in Des Moines hope and wish for a successful athletics department at Drake. The Drake Relays are a part of our community, a part of the culture here in Central Iowa. It signifies spring arriving, and we all look forward to that. Having a good competitive basketball team on the men's side in the Knapp Center makes winter go that much quicker. So we all, like it or not, we're all fans of Drake and what they have the ability to accomplish right here in our community. The challenge as this coaching search unfolds for Mark Phelps' successor is you've lost continuity. You had an opportunity with Tom Davis here and with Keno Davis succeeding him to go inside that Davis family and keep some continuity and keep some consistency within that program. Sandy Hatfield Club elected to go outside of that family. She's got a challenge on her hands right now. For her to jumpstart the Drake men's basketball program right now is going to take an incredible hire. Not a young up-and-comer, somebody that's dynamic, that will engage with this community, and has a basketball pedigree that Des Moines can rally behind. We wish Sandy Hatfield Club and the rest of the administration there at Drake good luck, because frankly, life is better in Des Moines in the wintertime with Drake winning. That's this week's Extra Point.